I mean, the amazing thing about what Tim Walz has done, and, this is consistent with the argument that I've been making for quite some time, is that we had a generational problem, not so much from an ideological perspective, although probably with an ideological perspective within the Democratic Party, but certainly a political problem, a problem in understanding the era that we were in and the appeal of partisanship and the need for partisanship. Joe Biden, as president, when it comes to domestic economic policy, was about as far left in terms of his action, was more far left, like I've said, than any president in my lifetime, short of LBJ. And I'm not sure that I was alive when he did, some of his more impressive domestic initiatives. And if you look at that original Build Back Better bill, that would have been, I think, in many respects, pretty close to transformative. But the failure was, in my estimation, a tactical one in the wake of the passage of the American Rescue Act in February of 2021. Instead of striking while the iron was hot, he felt like he had to look like he was including Republicans. And he allowed them to come to the White House, develop their plans and come to the White House. And then when they failed, he allowed Sinema and Portman to come in with their plan that ultimately broke it apart. That's why we got the IRA, and the infrastructure bills were separate, and we lost a lot of the best stuff in Build Back Better. And I'm quite convinced that that was a tactical failure, born out of this notion of an archaic version of American politics. Here is Tim Walz appearing on Morning Joe, which is apparently the pipeline to the Biden White House.
So it replaced the red phone.
Making a different argument. Basically saying, I don't have to show respect to weirdos.
What I know is that people like J.D. Vance know nothing about small town America. My town had 400 people in it, 24 kids in my graduating class, 12 were cousins, and he gets it all wrong. It's not about hate. It's not about collapsing in. The golden rule there is mind your own damn business. Their policies are what destroyed rural America. They've divided us. They're in our exam rooms. They're telling us what books to read. And I think what Kamala Harris knows is bringing people together around the shared values, strong public schools, strong labor unions that create the middle class, healthcare that's affordable and accessible. Those are the things. You look what they're talking about. They went right to division. They did not give us a plan on healthcare. Donald Trump talked about infrastructure. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris built bridges, built roads. So I think this is going back to the bread and butter, getting away from this division. We do not like what has happened where we can't even go to Thanksgiving dinner with our uncle because you end up in some weird fight that is unnecessary. and I think bringing back people together, well, it's true. These guys are just weird. And it's, they're running for He-Man Women Haters Club or something. That's what they go at. That's not what people are interested in. And there is angst because robber barons like J.D. Vance and Donald Trump gutted the Midwest, told us we didn't do that. They talk about private schools. Where in the heck are you going to find a private school in a town of 400? Those are public schools. Those are great teachers that are out there making a difference and gave us an opportunity to succeed. That angst that J.D. Vance talks about in Hillbilly Elegy, none of my hillbilly cousins went to Yale, and none of them went on to be venture capitalists or whatever. It's not who people really are. So I think that message doesn't resonate. You saw it yesterday. The energy out here exploded. We all broke fundraising records, but that's not what I look at. Door knocks are full. Phone banks are full. People are talking about what's possible. We are finally on offense about an America where we're all together. So good. Have Orban down to Florida. The vice president will come out here and stand in a Planned Parenthood. She stands in a Planned Parenthood clinic in St. Paul. That's what people want to see.
I just love the way he weaves in their sort of like cultural insanity with also reminding people that Vance is a vulture capitalist, that their programs are anti-family, anti-people, that he is such a champion of public schools. Labor loves this guy. They love this guy. And let's be clear, he doesn't have to be, like the fact is that politics, at least from the center left, it's not going to come from a politician. Politicians can do things that empower people, but put them in a position to gain more power. The strongest social and economic movements hit at a time, or at least the emancipatory movements, hit at a time where we had the lowest income inequality in the country's history. During the Great Compression of the 50s and 60s is when people started asserting more power to emancipate themselves. Black people, women, gay people, where there was more of a pushback to U.S. war machine. And we're in an era where we have seen that emancipation, at least from an institutional standpoint, probably at the best place it's ever been in the country's history. We still have, systemic misogyny and racism, but there's a far greater awareness of it. And now, when you give people a little bit of power, when the National Labor Relations Board says you can organize at the warehouse for Amazon, then the people have the ability, and there's certainly a desire to go and actually get the victory. So, and I would say they're greater than marginal. Things that Walz supports and has supported and executed in Minnesota are all things that are going to function as force multipliers for people's organizing and economic movements.
There's a comment I think is just kind of resonant. What the fuck is going on? Democrats are acting like they actually want to win, and I don't know how to handle these feelings right now.
Yeah. Bigga. Can't really listen today, but I hope you guys are covering the fact that Kamala and Walz won't even make it to the convention. They'll be replaced by Michelle Obama and Gavin Newsom. Duh.
Well, Hillary.
I mean, people are excited. Put up the registration in North Carolina after Harris was picked. You're going to see this pop, I think, even more. But take a look at this graph. It's nuts. People have noted that today we have our highest streaming that we've had probably since 2020 when Bernie was in the race. This is a week by week thing. I mean, look at those numbers. Look what it was doing.
Underwater since mid-June.
Underwater, and then just shoots up like it's like a rocket.
Huh. Well, what about all the people who are gonna stay home now because they were Biden or bust?
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.